Hey, what's up, all my duckies out there? I'm Duuz-Diz-Din, and I'm coming back at you again with DuckTales, the 2017 reboot. This time it's episode 13 of season 3, titled Escape from the ImpossiBin. Yes, the Duck family is on the defensive. As last episode they found out, Fowl is in their midst and on the attack, so they need to be ready for anything. As Beakley and Webby decide that they will train up the boys, well, specifically Huey and Dewey and Donald, in order to get ready for an all out attack by Fowl. Scrooge has brought in Della and Louie to help him with a specific situation. He also has to have this lineup of potential traitors to them all, including Little Bub, Uncle Donald, Fenton, Crackshell Cabrera, and someone named Blue Screen Beagle, who I have no idea who that is. Also Louis, but Louis's already done it, and Donald takes personal offense to them suggesting that he might be an enemy. Although once he fails to erase himself off the potential traitor board, they realize, yeah, it's probably not Donald. But Scrooge tells Louis and Della that he's brought him in to test his personal defense system for his money bin, the ImpossiBin. Meanwhile, Huey is at a loss. There's no information in Isabella Finch's journal about Fowl, where they've come from, what they are, their whole modus operandi, nothing. And he's really at a loss because he has no knowledge. Meanwhile, you know, Beakley has decided that she will send Webby after the boys when they least expect it to simulate a possible out of nowhere attack from Fowl, leaving the boys on edge. Meanwhile, we come to the first of Scrooge's defenses, a hall of saws. But it's not just that, as a little bulb unleashes an ultraviolet light which hides all of the saws and blades from view, creating a hall of whirling death. Meanwhile, Huey and Dewey have very opposed ways of thinking in regards to how to defend against Fowl. Dewey thinks it's all about the physicality and his own personal skills, whereas Huey believes that knowledge is the true power. But after some interesting work by Webby with a shadowy figure as well as a dummy Webby, all given some credence because we find out that apparently Webby has ventriloquism techniques that she has never shown off, but none of this is part of the attack. It's just to show off that Webby has some mad skills. Meanwhile, Della and Louie do their best to make their way through, but find that they kind of reach an impasse after a certain point, not being able to find a way through. So as Scrooge is just like, okay, I've tested enough, let me turn it off, he can't remember what the password is, leaving them stuck in the ImpossiBin. But they actually do end up finding a flaw in the design, as this part of the things were designed by gyro gear loose, and it's powered by a little bulb. And when they start to insult gyro and the little bulb technology, the bulbs they always turn red in anger. And it's because of this that they're able to see the saws. And Della has a moment where she really gives Gyro and the Bulb Tech a piece of her mind after all the years she spent chewing black licorice. Yeah, while it did save her life, she's still salty about all of that. Because if you've never had black licorice, do yourself a favor and don't. And to all of you who say black licorice is delicious, no, I will fight you on this. Do not at me. Meanwhile, Huey goes to talk to Mrs. Beakley, only to discover the other bin, which he had no knowledge of. And this kind of sends him into a spiral of, okay, I definitely do not know anything. But Dewey tries his best to comfort him and say, look, we've gotten out of situations much worse than this, we'll be fine. With Dewey even be like, yeah, we'll do disguises, it'll be great, it'll be fun, it'll be wonderful. Only for Dewey to come in and it to be revealed that this was actually Webby in disguise. Apparently, not only is she a ventriloquist, but she is also able to change her voice and do vocal mimicry as well. And this is still not the attack. Meanwhile, Scrooge, Della, and Louie end up in Miss Quackfester's wing of things, which are all dominated by things called Rosa-Runes, named after Don Rosa, the creator of DuckTales and a lot of the lore and all that good stuff. But, these things manipulate your personal gravity. So if you touch one, you might end up being gravitationally pulled to the left. And that's treated as, down for you. Or you're pulled up to the ceiling, as the ceiling is treated as down for you. Your personal gravity is really takes a hit. And, Della, ends up in the similar situation as Scrooge, being sent towards, the side of the wall. But Scrooge notices the control rune, which is able to, give them back their own personal sense of gravity. So Louis sends some books up to Scrooge so he can make a platform, and then Louis uses the bookshelf to create basically a platform out of each other so that he can walk towards Della, and as they use Della to propel them towards the wall, they're able to hit the control rune. But Scrooge is at a loss because he's just like, another flaw in the design. So at the same time, while Della and Louie are happy that they managed to survive, Scrooge is just angry that the traps have a way around them. So it's good, but it's bad at the same time. You don't want traps that people can get past, but also you don't want to die in the ImpossiBin. But meanwhile, Huey feels that ultimately all of this was just a lesson in not being on edge. Huey believes that maybe there was never any other attack, only for Webby to come in and attack. But in the process, Huey ends up tripping up and injuring his leg, and Webby feels that maybe this was not the way to go. Maybe going after them this hard and attacking their friends and family is not what they should be doing. But Beakley disagrees, and so Webby and Beakley battle it out. Meanwhile, as Scrooge, Della, and Louie continue to make their way out of the ImpossiBin, you know, Louis feels that, look, dude, this has gone on long enough. Let's just get through this and you can worry about the details later. Isn't survival the main subject here? But Scrooge says that the last trap is a combination of all the hardest tricks and tribulations that have been in the ImpossiBin so far. A robot of Scrooge, the greatest warrior that he knows, which actually transforms into this gigantic purple mech. And Della kind of takes offense to the fact that Scrooge believes that he's the most impressive warrior that he knows. And, once Della starts listing off, it's just like, don't you know another warrior with crazy mad skills? And the moment Scrooge is like, what, you mean like Donald? She is flung into a rage. But this was all a part of Scrooge's plan, as he knows Della all too well. And she does manage to get in some pretty good hits on the robot, but once it uses the bulb tech to ultravioletly disappear, it becomes a little harder. But thanks to some pep from Louie being splashed on the robot, they're able to see it. And Scrooge is able to use his signature pogo cane skills from the DuckTales video game to destroy the little bulbs. It's no longer invisible. But then it breaks out the Rosa Rune, sending the gravity of Della towards the ceiling. But when it tries to blast Louis, he's able to deflect it with the same can of pep, sending the robot crashing through the elevator shaft. But Scrooge still is not happy about this outcome, as like, dude, Fowl knows everything about me, my weaknesses, my everything that I do, everything. You know, the buzzard has just knows everything that I could possibly try to do, anywhere I could try to go. It just he's concerned. He feels that ultimately Bradford is going to use all of this against him. But Bradford comes in saying, yeah, I do know all of that, as well as your passwords, revealing that the password to shut down and take control of the ImpossiBin was actually the sum total of all the wealth that Scrooge has in his bin, which is strange that Scrooge neither could remember that or would change that knowing that Bradford would have that access. But he turns the robo-Scrooge on Scrooge, Louis, and Della, sending them to their doom in whirling blades. However, this ends up, they are able to escape this going up the elevator shaft. Meanwhile, Beakley and Webby continue to battle it out, but Webby isn't too happy about all of this and doesn't want to fight her grandma. And so Dewey, and Huey give her a way out, but Beakley pursues them relentlessly, cornering them on the roof. And she even kind of grapples with Huey and Dewey, who try to fight her off, but they're flung to the side. But this just angers Donald. So as Webby is backed into a corner, Donald lets Beakley know that this is not the way, that she's going too far. But Beakley, with tears in her eyes, feels that it's not far enough. They have to be ready. It really does feel that it's possible that Beakley had lost someone to Fowl. That, Shush thought they had taken them down, but maybe that's not the case. Maybe that's the reasoning behind why Webby doesn't have any parents. It really does, highlight that there's something personal here for Beakley. And as she continues to try to fight Webby, she loses her footing, only to be saved by Donald and the kids. And Webby lets her know that ultimately what will save them is working together, not fighting against each other. And they have a nice touching hug, only for Beakley to receive an alert, she tells everyone they need to get to the bin. As Bradford continues to pursue Scrooge, Della, and Louie, Della is able to, hit the main rune so that they can regain their center of gravity. But Bradford continues to go after Scrooge. And after Scrooge takes a point blank blast, I can barely say that word, from the robot, that he's able to send both of them up to the top of the money bin, where they engage in combat. But Scrooge can't get the upper hand, as it knows all of Scrooge's moves. But there's one thing that Louis knows that the robot can't imitate. And as he starts to demean the little bulb within the mech, that sends the little bulb after Louis, who starts to try to blast him as he goes diving into the money bin. So for the first time since season one, where Louis wasn't able to do it, now with all of the knowledge that he's earned over time, he's able to successfully dive into the money, only to have the gravity of the money reversed, sent up to the top of the bin, which crashes onto the robot, destroying it, and managing to successfully save the day. But as Scrooge starts to feel that maybe they've made it through and that maybe his family is what is needed in order to survive all of this, in comes Beakley, telling Scrooge to check his phone, with messages from Goldie, who went back to go steal the water from the Fountain of Youth, revealing that it had been stolen, and the Harp of Nirvana has been stolen as well as all of the Selego circuitry blueprints from Darkwing Duck stolen by Steelbeak. Nice callback to the fact that Steelbeak is a Darkwing Duck villain, as well as Jin informing them that he is in the process of being stolen by the Phantom Blot, revealing that all of this, the attack by Bradford, was a misdirect in order to steal all the relics that they had discovered so far. But ultimately, the family is resolute, deciding to go on the offensive against Fowl in order to find the remaining relics and take them down once and for all. This was a fantastic episode full of adventure and heart and passion, and I just can't wait to see where we go from here. How will the Duck family take down Fowl? What is Fowl's ultimate end goal? Just to steal all of these relics? And with Bradford being out from McDuck Industries, what are they going to do in order to surpass the McDuck family? How will they take down either nemesis? Who will come out the victor? It's pretty obvious it's going to be the Duck family, but how they're going to do it is another question. But I love this. I really did love seeing all members of the Duck family, well, most of the main primary members of the Duck family, manage to fight against impossible odds and come out on top. But tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. What did you think about this episode? And what do you think will happen when the McDuck family goes up against Fowl for the final time? Tell me your thoughts in the comment section below. If you liked this video, leave me a like. If you didn't, feel free to leave me a dislike. Subscribe and hit the bell icon. That way you never miss out on another DuckTales episode review. And until then, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.